16 years ago, an undergraduate student entered my office to ask a question. I countered with a question of my own. After several rounds of this, he banged his fist on the table. I inquired if I could help, and he countered with, "It'll be enough if you would understand." He went on to explain that for all his young life, his teacher had asked him to merely replicate what had been told to him, and now I was expecting him to think. 25 years of teaching in Hong Kong coalesced that day into a simple insight. The reason that we in Hong Kong did not produce enough peer-reviewed papers, patents and other indicators of academic prowess could be better explained by a failure to enhance our school system rather than our universities, which were, in any case, laden with resources. In a recent blog post on the New York Times website, Mohit Chandra of KPMG addressed the new crop of graduates from India's premier management institution, which churn out the top end of India's management cadre. His message was clear. These graduates are substandard. Within that context, he spoke of the illusion that the Indian education system is capable of producing the talent that companies such as his require. TeamLease is one of India's largest employers and a significant training company, which generally employs lower-end white-collar workers. Its chairman, Maneet Sabharwal, talks of accepting only 5% of those who apply. More significant, he believes that 40% of the rejects need more than a year of repair to make them fit for work. KPMG and TeamLease lie at the upper end and the lower extremes, respectively, of the spectrum of white-collar qualifications in India. While KPMG employs the products of the country's premier management institutions, TeamLease focuses on those who have graduated from conventional institutions for tertiary education. The outputs of both depict a void between qualifications and requirements. The common base that both sets of employees share is participation in the system of K-12 education. Given the experience in Hong Kong, one could surmise that the void between qualifications and requirements is the outcome of a broken school system, which is in serious need for repair. Across the country, the interplay between boredom and indiscipline pervades our classrooms and wastes the energies of teachers and students. In the large classes typical of India, discussions are either not possible or are chaotic. Students are not engaged in the learning process as a whole. Examinations that focus on memorization rather than inference provide arbitrary rather than scientific assessment, and assessment feedback is grossly delayed. Wasted class time is a direct outcome, while in the longer term students are unprepared for a university or the workplace. AGEM is a social enterprise whose focus is on replacing boredom with excitement of understanding in secondary school classrooms in India. We design and manufacture our own low-power feedback devices and use these to allow more than 100 students to respond in parallel to questions embedded in the content which we generate. Finally, we analyze the response of the students to improve students, teachers, and our own materials. The AGEM process has 4 elements: the technology for display and response capture, the analysis of student response and the resulting feedback, the content. The 4th element is vital: a teacher to conduct the performance. This is no online teaching model. To overcome the points of pain, AGEM's research over the last decade has shown that 3 overarching goals need to be satisfied. Firstly, students must be able to apply the knowledge they have gained to new contexts so the information they retain becomes part of a structure of knowledge. Secondly, decision-making, especially grey area decision-making, which is part of real life, can be practiced and understood. Thirdly, working with groups to come to a consensual decision is an important part of daily life, whether one works in the office or as a member of a community. For the next 2 minutes, an edited video of AGEM maths being delivered to Class 6 students will be shown. This small sequence illustrates for students the human inability to visually recall more than 7 bits of discrete information versus the ability to recall less than 5. The need for symbolic representation of value is explained later in this lesson. Now, I want you to take a careful look at these 2 pictures. Don't say anything. But there's a picture on the left called picture A, and A is in red. There's a picture on the right called picture B, and B is in blue. The answer is the picture A, then type 1. If the answer is picture B, you type 2.
Yeah, very good, right? So you all give an answer very quickly, and let's see what that answer was. Almost everybody said the picture on the left. On the right had more strawberries. Yes? All right? So now we have another question for you. How many strawberries were there in the picture on the left called picture A? And don't type out now, just hold on a second and you can type out now. Right? The picture on the left called picture A had how many strawberries? Number 4. Very good. So you answered in record time, and what is the result? The large majority of people got 3. Correct? Very good. Alright? A few people got 4, but that's alright, never mind. Now, what we'll do is, we have another question. How many strawberries were there in the picture on the right, called picture B? So, now what we'll do is, we'll have a look at the answers this time. So, do we know what is the correct answer? 8. I'm not going to say it. But I'm going to say one thing. That when it came to the 3 strawberries, everybody could remember correctly. Right? This time, everybody remembers differently. The reason for that, we will tell you a little later.
Our team includes specialists in hardware, software, learning systems, business, logistics and marketing. We've been developing a method since 1998 with the setting up of 2 schools from scratch and the parallel development of feedback devices, software and teaching methods. With the 4th generation of hardware, we conducted a pilot for almost 4 months at a school for economically deprived children. We also provide demos of our systems to various schools and colleges while capturing data on each occasion for analysis. Prior to the course, all but one of our experimental group was rated at below the highest level 5 for mathematical ability by the grade 6 class teacher. We got less than 20 hours with the students for teaching core content over nearly 4 months. We measured performance in 3 ways. The first way was the difference between pre- and post-instances of US placement tests, something the students were not familiar with. The green diamonds show the pre-test results for the taught group, and the blue squares show the post-test results. The second indicator used to measure performance was analysis of scores we gave to each question the students answered during the teaching sessions. The class as a whole appeared to progress in terms of 1 to 5 scale. The dark blue bars show that the gap between the best and the worst student declined over time. The most independent measure was the difference between Term 2 tests taken after our course with the Term 1 exams taken before our course. To our surprise, these gains were carried over into science and English, which we had not covered except as teaching collateral. We have 3 principal ideas for marketing AGEM. The first of these is a bus co-branded with a corporate sponsor whose advertising budget is provisioned for targeting children in our age group, subject of course to appropriacy and ethics. The second is to approach school owners who are actively involved in management. We have given presentations to 3 schools and have received signed letters of agreement from 2 and are awaiting. The Government of India has made generous support provision for innovation in schools, but government funds take a long time to come, and this is only possible after funding. AGEM's revenues are a function of the number of students. Our costs are a function largely of the number of classes served. Our profitability is therefore dependent on the number of children per AGEM class. A critical element of our learning process is a graphical feedback of the class response. This is much better with larger classes. As larger classes are part of the Indian environment, it works for us. We look to subscribing schools providing us 3 hours per week as complementary study programs, which are usually funded by parents. The nature of our processes requires us to have a minimum population before we can start, unless we have funding. We have 3 options in order of preference. The last 2 require funding only for achieving scale. Our principal resource is in-house expertise in hardware, software and learning systems that allows us to create finely tuned tools for learning. Thank you for your time.